Welcome, everybody, to the Grueling Truth CFL Pick'em Show. We are at Week 5. The CFL Pick'em Show is brought to you by Power Plus Mouth Guards, Replenishing Care Technologies, and Gridiron Mow. So make sure you check out our website, www.thegruelingtruth.net, and you can check out all those sponsors. Click the link. It'll take you right to their businesses. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I want to welcome in my co-host. We'll start off with Oz Davis. How you doing, Oz?
I'm living. How are you guys doing?
All right. We're all living also. That brings us
Excellent.
to our next co-host. He is an assistant coach with the Wichita Falls Nighthawks, currently in the IFL, but that could be changing soon. Brian Schmidt. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good, and I want to announce on the Grueling Truth that I just finished another 5 rounds of training, boxing, and I am ready to take on the winner of Mayweather-McGregor in Mike's backyard for a mere $3 million.
You know what? I'll tell you what, Schmitty. I find that so uninteresting I wouldn't even watch it if it was in my living room.
Well, that's terrible, man. I was counting on you. That's terrible.
Well,
it would be you and Floyd, and you and Floyd. I don't know. I don't think you got much of a chance.
Well, but he's going to fight with both hands tied behind his back.
Yeah, I still think.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I still don't have a chance. Well, move on.
Yeah, but that brings us, of course, to a man who will act like he doesn't like being called this, but a former Grey Cup champion, Robert Drummond. How you doing, Robert?
Pretty good. How's it going? You know, making me feel like it feel old.
Well, yeah, but at least you got the 4-time Grey Cup thing in front of your name, even if you are getting old.
You know what? And I mean, there's nothing greater than actually winning a Grey Cup in the Canadian Football League. I mean, I can honestly say that I've had a chance to experience it 4 times, and it's the most unbelievable feeling you can ever imagine.
All right, so we will start with this, Robert, and I'll let you go first. What could the CFL do about the officiating? Because to me, the officiating is even worse than the NFL right now. And I mean, even the replay booth's screwing stuff up.
Yeah, you know, I don't get it. I mean, the one thing, I mean, if you're gonna really hamper and use replay, you know, or even officiating, you know, to manage a game, then manage the game. Protect the players. You know, it's just with this whole, and I'm dealing with it right now. You know, from the NFL when I play there. You know, the whole concussion issue. It's like, you know, at some point you have to worry about the integrity of the game, and the integrity of the game comes with some of its officials. So it's like, you know, call a game. You know, if you coaches, officials, you know, the management, they're so staunch on if they call something, they never want to seem to be proven wrong, so they won't overturn it. That's bothered me since the day I played professional football. You know, it really has.
Yeah, and if I remember right, the NFL was similar to that. Was it in the mid to late 80s when they brought it in at first? I mean, it would take an act of God to get them to overturn a call no matter what they saw.
It would. I mean, it's just, you know, like, believe your eyes. Holy smokes, and protect the players. At some point, you know, it's got to be about the players and not the game, you know, because even with this whole CTE scare, you know, and I'm not to bring up something that people think about, because I'm going through this whole process talking to lawyers, and you know, it's scary. It really is. You know, for someone who played at a high level, who loved the game, you know, players are dying from this, and I'm not making that up. It's happening right in front of us every single day. You know, so you have to protect the players, make the game safer. So if you have to make a call, make the call. Jeez.
Yeah, and I mean, my problem with, like, the coverage is, and we'll go to Oz on this, or Brian, whoever wants to jump in, but the thing I see is with the production of the television up there, it was TSN, I mean, a lot of times it looks like maybe they don't even have enough angles from their cameras to get everything right all the time. Brian?
Wow, you want this one, Brian?
Yeah, and I would agree with that to an extent. Just the missed calls, and you see the replays, and you go through all the process for not only to miss calls, but as Robert said, I mean, guys are going to, what's it going to take to change something? I mean, is it going to take for a guy to lose his career, lose his life? So I mean, there's so many things about this replay that it's horrible. The officiating is not good. The replay is not good. I mean, it's almost like blow it up and start over. And we had this conversation last year. This is not the first time it's been brought up.
No, it's
not.
And
the problem is us. We have it at almost every level of football.
Well, yeah. In the NFL in recent years, officiating has been horrible, and that's been dominating conversation among fans. But again, from the fan perspective, I would say this: compared to the last 2 years, this 4 weeks of CFL football has felt like a breeze. The stoppages in play are far less frequent. The actual number of games, I would say, actually revolving around a blown call have decreased. I mean, I wanted to ask you guys because, Robert was talking about player safety. But I think the one bad call that most people are going to take away from this week is, of course, that kickoff return that was called back and lost some lady in Winnipeg $1 million. What specifically are you talking about this week in terms of blown calls? Anything? Anything specific?
Yeah, go ahead, Robert, because I think Robert's headed the same way I am on this.
It's you know what I mean. The whole situation, even where not so much the safety, but where the lady lost $1 million. Obviously, yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah. It's there. And honestly, guys, and I played the game a long time. There's a penalty on every single play.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I would hold. I would on every single play. So you almost as a referee have to pick and choose, call the blatant ones, but let the minuscule ones. I mean, it's just I don't get it, and it frustrated me as a player. It frustrates me now as a patron of someone who watches the game. Honestly, be consistent. Because on every single play, there's a penalty. There's a holding on every single play. Trust me, I played them long. On everything, there's a holding call on every single play, but they don't call them.
But they call it when there's $1 million on the line for the league, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I would hate to think that, but it that's where people's minds go, I think, Oz.
That's where mine went. Oh, I've got a conspiracy theory. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's pretty obvious when, like, for example, a guy like Kirk Cousins re-signs, and he's making $1.5 million a game. Okay, $1 million in the Canadian Football League is a significant amount of the player personnel budget. Okay, they can't throw around $1 million in Canadian Football League like they do in the NFL. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if the refs were told, look, if this situation ever comes up, because it's only the last time a kickoff return, the opening kickoff was returned for the touchdown in the CFL in the regular season apparently was like 2007. They said it at the top of this game. I'm sure they've been told, if this ever comes up, look for that penalty that happens on every single play, just to be sure. Because the insurance company, Safeway, the CFL does not want to pay $1 million.
Let's go ahead. We'll talk about the first game, which was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 33-25 over the Toronto Argonauts. Ricky Ray played well, made a couple costly mistakes, though. Matt Nichols, I thought, didn't make any mistakes, didn't play the greatest game, but didn't make any mistakes. So, Oz, we talked about this before, and I thought Winnipeg was going to drop off this year. I would have to say as of right now that I am wrong and you were right. So you want to gloat a little bit?
Well, that's magnanimous of you. I was thinking that people were going to be kind of a little iffy on the Bombers on this podcast today, so I was prepared to say, look, Bombers fans, don't worry. You have a great team. Well, not a great team. You have a very good team here. You have a team that is not giving up in the clutch in the fourth quarter like they had in the past. You're looking at a team that's not making the dumb mistakes like they did, 25 times last year, 25 turnovers from the offense last year. Their head is in the game. And again, I remind people, this is the team that has the second most players on that CFL top 50 list as voted by their fellow players. I mean, this is a decent team. Secondary is a little bit weak, but I like this team. I like Winnipeg to go far this year.
And we'll go to Robert. We'll talk a little about Toronto, which I do think Toronto looks like they have improved this year. Ricky Ray's still playing well, even though he's a little bit older. And, I mean, the good thing for Toronto, Robert, is they're in a conference or division where, 9-9 or 10-8 might win it. Where do you think Toronto sits right now as compared to last year?
Well, technically, according to the statistics, they're leading the division. I would have never.
Right.
The Red Blacks would have been 0-3. At this point, but it's good for Toronto. I look at Ricky Ray, and he just has to not get outside of himself. I always tell a quarterback, you're a leader. Even with Doug, it's like, Doug, you're a leader. Don't try and go out there and do anything extra. Just go out there and do what you're good at. All that Ricky Ray has to do out there is go out there and manage the game. He made a few mistakes that, it cost him the game. But those are the things he has to, get rid of. And it'll be, I'll talk about it at a later point when we talk about our selections and our picks, but it's going to be interesting because I'll actually be in Toronto this weekend. They're having a 96-97 Grey Cup reunion weekend for the teams that won that in Toronto. So a bunch of the players will be back from up at BMO Stadium for that game. So I'll actually be back in Canada for the first time in a long time.
Hey, see if you can get Doug Flutie's phone number for us so we can do him on the CFL Legends show.
Actually, I'll get a chance to get the Doug Flutie bobblehead. It's like the first 10,000 fans or whatever, however many fans get a bobblehead of Doug Flutie.
Two tickets.
You get a bobblehead. You get us the phone number, though. Okay, you can tell him this. We've interviewed guys that are in the NFL Hall of Fame. So come on.
Yeah. me and Doug butted heads a lot. Let's just say.
Oh, okay. Well, hell, if you got any other teammates you didn't butt heads with, I don't know. But
just about everybody else, I didn't. Just him and me did, though.
Well, you could make up just to get the phone number for us, and then you could be out.
I'm good with Doug, but we just butted heads. We had different philosophies on the field. Let's just say.
All right, so Brian, this is my question. This is my only question about Winnipeg right now. As I just admitted, I was wrong. They're a good team still. They've got the defense. They've got a good running back with Andrew Harris. My question is Matt Nichols a good enough quarterback to take them on a long run and win a Grey Cup?
Take them on a long run to the playoffs, yes, to a Grey Cup.
No.
I don't know about that. I think in this game particularly, he did a great job of managing the game, no turnovers, put the ball in Andrew Harris' hands. Really did a nice job. But I think, once you get into the playoffs, I don't think he's a Grey Cup winning quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. So there, Oz. I admitted they're better.
Well, actually, I wanted to get in on that. Because during the game, and I noticed it as well, the complaint was not so much at quarterback. The complaint is the limited number of weapons out there. I mean, he's got Weston Dressler, and then what? Maybe this is the problem. I mean, when you compare this to a team like Saskatchewan that's got, 4 or 5 quality receivers out there, what does Winnipeg have at this position? I think they're doing quite well with what they have right now. But that's going to stop them in the playoffs, I think. Just not enough options out there.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've got a running game. They got Weston Dressler. So I don't know. Maybe it's not all Matt Nichols' fault, but Brian blamed it all on Mike Nichols. So anybody wants to complain about it, write Brian Schmidt. His phone number is 423-691-4283.
Wow.
It's not really, by the way. I just made that number up. But somebody's going to get some calls.
Let's call it and see whose number it is. Hey, anybody out there, call it and see whose number it is and let us know.
Yeah, then let us know. Maybe it's Doug Flutie's, and then we'll just tell him Robert Drummond told us to call.
That won't go over well.
All right. Game 2 of the week. My favorite team, the Montreal Alouettes, beat Brian's favorite team, the Calgary Stampeders, 30-23. Oz, you're an Alouettes fan, so I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, it's the return of the menstrual Alouettes, right? We got the Alouettes once a month. They're capable of scoring 30 points. This was the game.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like that anymore. I think if you look at what they've got,
it's the first time they scored over
running the ball. Yeah, they got receivers. They got 2 or 3 solid receivers. Really 4 solid receivers, I think. You got Darren Durant. I don't think this is like last year, Oz.
Well, no, the team is better than last year. But the truth is, again, this is the first time they scored over 20 points this season. And you can look that up. Now, on one side, that's great because here's the defense holding up the offense again. And this is how we've been great when we've been great the last 10, 15 years. Through the defense. Okay, I like that. The offensive line went, 12, 13 quarters without giving up a sack. They gave up 2 in this game, but, that's the first 2 they've given up all season. Good things tend to happen when your offensive line is protecting your quarterback. But Durant at quarterback has taken fewer than, I believe, 25 attempts in all 4 of these games. What Montreal is doing is they're playing, and I wanted you guys to comment on this one too, they're playing this very old school style of game. I mean, they have 3 running backs. They're doing the running back by committee, but they're using all of them. And they're trying to play a game of, they're trying to control the clock. Now, it's been working. They've had more time of possession progressively in each of the 4 games they've played this year. But I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys what you thought of the old school ball that Montreal's got going up there.
Well, old school ball works. If you've got 2 or 3 running backs that can run, you got a quarterback that's efficient. I mean, we still see it in the NFL today, teams that can do that. Heck, if you look back at Super Bowls when the Giants beat the Patriots, that's the way they played. When Patriots beat the Rams in the greatest show on turf, it's the way they played. The thing is, most teams don't design their team to play like that anymore, but I think Montreal has, and I think it might have been out of necessity just because of lack of weapons last year. Now they've got a quarterback they've thrown in with it. I think it can work. I mean, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, and let's be honest, it also helps, even though he threw a couple interceptions, but when Durant goes 17 and 22, that's pretty efficient.
Yeah.
And then you got Sutton had 17 carries, 80 some yards. They're efficient. And what I noticed in getting to watch some of this game, what I noticed was first down they were getting 5-6 yards a pop. So now you're in 2nd and 4. That's manageable. You don't have to throw the football on 2nd and 4. That's manageable. I thought they did a great job of always being in manageable downs. Even on a 3rd and 1, now you take the quarterback sneak and you get first down, and here we go again. But they did a great job of putting the offense in a position to everything be manageable, control the game, and the defense played well. I mean, even though Mitchell threw for almost 400 yards, you never felt like Calgary's offense. But
they didn't give up big plays.
No, they didn't. And I think Mitchell threw the ball like 50 times. So they didn't give up big plays. They played efficient. But for all those out there that are ready to, jump off the Calgary bandwagon, it's early in the season. And even though Calgary has some injuries and things going on, until they prove otherwise, they're still Calgary.
Yeah, and Montreal is still a team with a really good defense, an improving offense. You're playing them at home. It's early in the season, Robert. Is there any reason for concern in Calgary yet?
No, none at all. I mean, my hats off to Montreal for the simple fact that even with Durant, they've found what's this newer generation call it, a swag. They found an attitude. They found. I mean, they're even when I played in Toronto, there were times we walked in the field. We knew we were good, so all we had to go out there and was executing player game plan. I mean, push your will over the other opponent, and that's what Montreal is doing right now. Calgary by far, I think, we all know is a superior team, but they're off to a rough start. It's the first half of the season. Bullied by Mitchell. Yes, he played. Had a great game. 400 yards passing. But they're not winning games right now. They will correct their mistakes, and they will be the team that we know they're capable of. Right now, it's the first half of the season. It's a long season left.
All right, the next game we have what most people think is the best team in the CFL right now, I think, at least after Calgary's lost to Montreal. The Edmonton Eskimos, 23, Ottawa 21. Trevor Harris leads them on a great drive at the end of the game. They scored a touchdown but missed a conversion. Riley and Harris both played well, didn't make any mistakes really, or nothing, no interceptions at least. The thing that stands out to me here, Robert, is Trayvon Van runs for over 100 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Riley throws for 265. The difference, I think, this year, number one is you lose John White, but Trayvon Van looks like he's going to be able to fill in for him.
You know what? I mean, we used to always say this. When someone goes down, someone has to step up. And that's what professional sports is about. Trayvon Van, it's just to watch that young man go out there and perform, under the circumstances like he performed. It's just, for a running back myself also, it's fun to watch, because, I always felt as a running back, we control the game. We control the clock, and we control time of possession. So when Doug used to hand it off to me, I always thought to myself, try and get a first down, just control the clock. And they did it. It's fun to watch good football, and Edmonton's playing damn good football right now.
Yeah, and Brian, we look at Ottawa. They haven't won a game yet. They've lost probably, almost every game in the final minute, it seems like. What's the problem here, number one? And number two, are they going to be able to turn it around? Because a lot of times you'll see teams that start off the year like this that can't get over the hump at the end of games, and for some reason everything starts to steamroll, and all of a sudden a 2 or 3 point loss is a 14-point loss. Is this a team, do you think, will be able to right the ship?
Well, that's a good question, because a very good team on paper, but and you're right, when you're losing these close games, eventually, do you have guys that are going to rally together, or are you going to have guys that are going to pull apart and start pointing fingers? And that's going to be interesting to see what goes on in the coming weeks, because on paper this is a very good team, but. And we also have to remember, Edmonton's also a good team. This is not, it's not like they're losing to bad football teams. They had the Calgary and everything else. They're not losing games, badly. It's just, man, at the end they cannot find a way to win. And it's going to be interesting to see over the next 4 or 5 weeks if they right the ship, or if things start getting bad and now all of a sudden you start hearing a lot of finger pointing going on. So it could get very interesting in Ottawa.
So I'm going to go to Robert on this before I go to Oz, just because he won 4 Grey Cups. Do you think maybe this is a little bit of Grey Cup hangover? You always hear about Super Bowl hangover after you go through, make the kind of run they made where they go into the playoffs with a losing record, end up winning the Grey Cup. Do you think that could have anything to do with this?
No, it's only four games. They're a very talented team. They're just trying to find their stride right now. As I said, it's a long season. It's 4 games. You can't base anything on 4 games. They, let's put it this way: they went out right. They go 14-3-1. So, it's only 4 games. Too early, guys.
Real quick, if they go 500 the rest of the year, what would Ottawa's record be?
If they go 500 the rest of the way, that would
Too
put
late,
them
you lost.
at...
All right, Brian's already got it figured out, but I'm not going to ask him because he's using his fingers. All right.
7-10.
So we look at this, and we all been saying Calgary was number 1 for the last couple weeks, no matter what. With what happened this week, is there any doubt in your mind that Edmonton's not the number 1 team?
For me, Edmonton's number 1.
Yeah, Oz.
Edmonton's number 1. Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, right now.
Yep.
Let's see if they're number 1 in 3-4 weeks.
I knew you were going to say that, Robert.
Oh, Robert.
And it is very true, by the way. Yeah, go ahead.
I watch these power rankings every week, and I'm like, it changes so much. Eventually, one of these teams is going to hit their stride. It's probably the most talented team. They're going to hit their stride, and they're going to get good real fast. It's only 4 games. Right now, they're just trying to.
And I think the reason you're seeing this a little bit more like this year, Robert, is just as we talked about, I think, a week or 2 ago, It's just a lot deeper. You've got one or two teams that may not be very good, but the rest are capable of beating anybody at any time.
Yeah, I agree.
And it makes it harder to hit your stride when, every week you're playing somebody and give you a game. Now let's talk about that one team that can't. That would be the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who lost to the BC Lions 41-26. They still have no defensive backs. Travis Lulay comes in, replaces an injured Jonathan Jennings, throws for 436 yards on 29 of 36 passing for 3 touchdowns. Also had a rushing touchdown. What do we take away from this? You've got Jonathan Jennings down. I don't know, have you heard how long he's out, Oz?
I do not. I do not know anything from today. So I don't know how long he's out. Really, 436 was the total on that?
Yeah.
Okay,
wow.
So I believe then that the 3 best performances this season by a quarterback have all been against Hamilton, which should not be much of a surprise.
Because they have no defensive backs.
Right. You want 450 yards passing? Hey, go play Hamilton. You can do it this year.
Yeah, and the question is, you hear about the dissension between the coach Ken Austin and the quarterback Zach Collaros. Do you think there's anything to that, Brian?
Well, could be. You never really know, but you and I both know. Well, we don't know personally, but we know from watching others when losing starts happening, fingers start getting pointed. So.
Oh, 1,000%. And there's this tension between them. As a former player, I can tell you 1,000%. They're losing. They're not playing well. They're getting beat handily. There's problems.
Absolutely.
Major problems.
Yeah, especially if your ownership's not that good. Because, that's the teams that panic quickly.
Yep.
And we do that. We do know that from experience, Brian. So,
yes,
if you get an owner that's a moron, and all of a sudden you're 2-1 instead of the 3-0 they wanted, and then, stupid stuff happens. But
yep.
That's just an opinion for somebody that I know listens to this show. So Brian knows where I'm going with that. And so do they, and they'll probably never listen again, but that's all right. So we look at it. Zach Collaros was 30 for 48, 361 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Those are good numbers. So when it comes down to it, Robert, if somebody's got to go, Ken Austin or Zach Collaros, it's probably going to be Ken Austin.
Yeah, it will be Ken Austin. I even when talking to guys before I even got up there for the ceremony thing, I've heard that Kent might be gone. So I don't know how much to hold into it, but usually it's the coach going back.
Yeah.
But I got to ask you, Mike. I know you don't like pulling the trigger on stuff like this, but this is a team that so far has scored 3 touchdowns from the offense, and I believe 0 on the defense. The problem here has got to be, to some extent, play calling, right? The firing would not be unjustified.
Yeah, who's calling the plays? Even if Ken Austin has an offensive coordinator, he knows everything is being called.
Sure.
I'll put it that way. So it all has to fall there anyways. They were not what they were supposed to be last year. This is not a team that is devoid of talent on offense. It is on defense. So my question is this. Who's picking the players? Because on defense, the defensive backs they had going into camp this year, if you looked at the film on them, are guys that Brian probably wouldn't want on his indoor team.
Nope. You're exactly right.
Well, it was crazy because in the off season, the first thing they did was re-sign 3 defensive linemen. Then in the draft, 3 of their first 4 picks were defensive linemen. It was like they ignored the secondary all off season altogether, and now they.
So the question is it really Ken Austin's fault? It's, to me, when you look at them and the way they built the roster, the way they drafted, what they did on the off season, that falls more on the guy that's picking the players, because you can be Ken Austin, and Ken Austin can be the greatest coach this side of Bill Belichick, but if you don't give him the players that make it capable for him to win, he's not going to win.
Yeah. Which now brings another interesting point, as we always like to play conspiracy theory. If there were problems with Ken Austin, even coming into the season, person who possibly is picking these players, are they setting him up to lose? because we've seen that before.
Oh, yes.
In football. So there's a lot of different scenarios that could be coming out of this. But, I mean, at this point.
It seems an odd time. I mean, it's almost like you're suggesting that we have to do a rebuild or that we're going to eat a rebuild, but it seems a real weird time to do that. I mean, this is a team that 2 years ago in the first half of the season looked like super team, okay? And you've got an Eastern division where we're all sitting here going 9-8-1 is going to win this division. I mean, it's an awfully weird time to, like, devoid your team.
I don't think that Ken Austin should be fired. Unless he's the guy that's making the player personnel or decisions. I think the guy that's picking the players is the problem here. I think Ken Austin's a good football coach. He's proven that before. Jack Polaris is a good quarterback. He's proven that before. So the problem, I think, is elsewhere. Unless, like I said, Ken Austin's the one picking the players. If it is, then they need to get rid of him. But I just think that where you're at, as you said, even with no wins, you're 2 games out of first place.
Yep.
It's too early to panic. You need to go get some DBs, though, because if they don't replace the DBs they have, I don't see how they're going to win any games because they're going to give up 40 points every game.
Yeah.
But, all right, are we ready to pick games? I didn't miss any there, did
I? Nope.
I don't think so.
All righty, we will go to
5 games to pick.
Well, last week I don't think any of us missed any picks. We were all perfect on the week, correct?
Absolutely.
Since we didn't do the show, since I was on vacation. And,
I'm on record as having picked Montreal. So
me too.
I should,
Me too. So did Brian, and so did Robert.
All right.
Actually, I picked. If I remember right, I picked Montreal to win 30-23.
Oh yeah, nice one. Way to go.
All right, so we're going to give you a chance to pick Montreal again, Oz. We're going to let you go first. We got the Montreal Alouettes. This will be on Wednesday night at the Ottawa Red Blacks. Oz, who do you like in this one?
I really want to pick Montreal. I really like how this team is developing, and I think that I'm on the Chap de Lane Marine Corps. I'm in the bandwagon. But I don't know. I can't imagine Ottawa going 5 games without a win. I mean, surely they've got to win sometime. So, yeah, I'll take them to defend home field. I'll take Ottawa.
All right, Robert, Montreal, Ottawa.
I like Montreal and Durant a lot. I mean, I just think their team, they're up and coming. They're just doing a lot of good things, but at some point, Ottawa's just too talented. I mean, at some point, they're going to right their ship, and they're going to get things going. You know, they are. They're a good team.
Yeah,
very good team.
I agree. I'm going to take Ottawa. I still think Trevor Harris is the best quarterback in this league, no matter what anybody says. I think Ottawa gets the win here. I think it'll be close, though. I think Montreal is going to maybe win that side, but I think it may be between those two. Brian?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Ottawa. Until they prove that they're not going to be the team that we think they are. They're just too talented on paper to keep going the way they're going. And they're at home, so I think this is a real good opportunity for them to start getting right and winning some games.
All right, so everybody's taking Ottawa in the Ottawa-Montreal matchup. Game number 2 will be Thursday night at 7:30, the Edmonton Eskimos at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I'll start this one off, Edmonton. Brian?
Edmonton.
Robert?
Edmonton.
Oz?
Okay, Edmonton by 19.
But you said too much. You were just supposed to say Edmonton since it's such a mismatch. So everybody will take Edmonton in that game. Game number 3 will be Friday night as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers travel to take on the British Columbia Lions, which should be a great game, Brian.
Yeah, it should, and I am going to take Winnipeg in this. Just watching a little bit of them last week, I like what I see. Not knowing, what Jennings is going to be back, even though Lule is a great quarterback to watch. I just think Winnipeg is a good team, and I think that they can win this game.
All right, Robert.
Not sure if Jennings is going to be back or not, but my gut tells me Winnipeg. They just have momentum right now.
All right, Oz? Oh, go ahead, Robert. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
I mean, I was going to say, don't get me wrong. The one thing about me is, so granted, I played for Toronto and I played for BC. I'm not a homer. You know, I try and call it. I see a challenge because trust me, I have friends that are. But it's, you know
what, Robert? You know, the first sign that somebody is a homer is the fact that they have to tell you they're not a homer.
I'm not. I pick in BC all the time. I pick in Winnipeg.
All right, Oz.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to get off the Blue Bombers bandwagon. I'm going to take them. I still have yet to be really, really blown away by BC Lions like I was last year at any point. Whereas I am really impressed with what Winnipeg is doing with limited options. I'm going Winnipeg.
All right. Well, as you said, they have limited options. I'm going with the BC Lions just because I think this game's a toss-up. It's going to be really boring if we all agree on every game. But I'm going to take the BC Lions to win, whether it's Lule or Jennings. I like both quarterbacks. Game 4, we got the Saskatchewan Roughriders on Saturday night at the Calgary Stampeders. Robert, you think Calgary bounces back here?
I think, it's just like Ottawa. I think Calgary just finds they're very talented. I think the most talented team in the CFL. You know, but their record doesn't show it. But I just think at some point they're going to realize they're a good team, you know, and just right the ship and just start playing good football. I got to take Calgary. I think this is the start of Calgary's run. I think this week or next week.
All right, Oz.
Yeah, I pointed this out in week 1 when I took Ottawa over Calgary. You know, in this era, Calgary starts slow. Remember, last year they were 1-1-1 at this point. The year before that, when they ended up losing 3 games all season, they started 1-1. Okay, this is a team that starts a little bit slow. I think Robert is correct. I think this is where they start to turn it on. I wouldn't be surprised to see them win like 10 in a row right now. So, yeah, I think it starts here at Calgary.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going with Calgary. Calgary at home, good football team. Yeah, they're going to right the ship this week and get back to Calgary football.
All right, Saskatchewan winning would be a huge upset, correct, Oz?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to take Calgary. But I do believe Saskatchewan's going to make this game closer than a lot of people think they are. I do think Saskatchewan has improved from last year. I don't think it's enough to win this game, but I think they will be in the game. Final thoughts, Brian?
Are we going to do Ottawa and Toronto?
Yeah, final thoughts.
We did do it. Ottawa and Toronto.
No.
Yeah, on Monday night.
This week is a 5-game week, and Ottawa gets the bookend it. So, next Monday.
I don't even see that on their schedule. There it is. It just came up, but I hit that button again. Well, that's kind of tough to pick a game where you got – but, I mean, it'll be easy for Robert because he's a homer. He's going to pick Toronto. But, I mean, we've got the – we don't know what – okay, Ottawa at Toronto, Robert.
I told you guys I'll be at the game. It's a reunion of the 96-97. So I'll be there. But I just think with the whole Doug Flutie, you know, myself, Mookie Mitchell, pinball, you know, just everyone just coming back and just getting back into the tradition of Toronto football. I think those guys will just be, you know, so psyched up to be, you know, just so, you know, so great to live in a moment of Toronto football that I think they'll have enough energy and enough, you know, charisma to win that game.
All right. Oz, I'll let you go after that.
Ottawa, on top of all their other problems, I believe this is their 4th game in 21 days, something like that. Now, I don't know what sort of effect that's going to have on them. They've taken a few.
I'll tell you, from personal experience, that hurts. That hurts a lot. It's tough on your body.
I mean, this is quite a grind, and they're doing 2 in a week? No, 2 and even less than that. 2
5 days.
Yeah, they're playing on Wednesday and then playing again on Monday.
5 days, yeah. That's like one of
and they're playing on Wednesday against a Montreal team that's pretty physical on defense.
Right. And traveling on Monday. I think all signs point to they have to lose this game. I'm going to go with the home team, Toronto. I'm going to go with Robert's Toronto Argonauts. And by the way, one of the under-the-radar stories about the CFL is that to this game, 2 tickets, less than $20, they're like $19.96, $19.98, whatever, and you get the Doug Flutie bobblehead. Jeez, if you're even in the area of Toronto, go see this game. I mean, when have ticket prices ever been that low? I can't believe how hard up they are to sell tickets in Toronto.
All right.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Toronto also. I don't want to pick against Robert. Plus, this Wednesday, Monday thing, that's an awful lot to play, 4 days rest?
Yeah, we did that a couple of times when I played, and that's very tough on your body. It is. It's exhausting. You have no energy during the game. You don't.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going with Toronto, and my question is, what moron came up with the idea of scheduling a team to play on a Wednesday and a Monday? And I know this is not the first time this happened, but again, if we're concerned about player safety,
I agree.
This is not the smartest thing, and you know,
we know the NFL and the CFL could care less about players' safety unless fans bitch about something.
They could care less.
If you look at it, an NFL team playing on a Sunday and then Kevin Blackfoot
and then on
Thursday, it's the same damn thing as a Wednesday to Monday thing.
Yeah,
it is. But that's my whole point. Is I mean, when does this thought process ever going to stop? Because it's already taken a toll on players. But again, you know, what's got to happen for everybody to look at this and go, well, maybe it's not a good idea.
I guess players dying isn't enough, huh?
No, I mean, because the NFL and the CFL are about their TV especially the NFL. I mean, the NFL, you're getting billion-dollar TV contracts. They're just paying lip service to caring about players.
Yep, they're money and marketing.
Yeah,
that's all they care.
They don't care. They just want to get paid. I mean, because it wasn't like in the 70s you would get an occasional special Monday Night Football on a Thursday night or a Saturday night. Now they've made it so they play that day. I mean, everybody has short rest. And, I mean, it really gets sickening because I'll be making calls. I'll interview players. They'll say, well, hey, I know such and such. They'd probably like to be on the show. And then I've had on a few occasions guys call me and say, well, they ain't going to be on the show because they've got dementia now.
Yeah.
You know, they got Alzheimer's. They don't remember things the way they did. I hadn't talked to them in a while. And, I mean, this happened to me the other day. And, I mean, it's just, when is this going to stop? Because the NFL games are on Sunday. NFL games, all NFL games I think should be on Sunday. The Monday Night Football thing is a joke anymore. Nobody cares. Howard Cosell, Dandy Don are gone. The TV ratings suck. Nobody wants to watch ESPN's version of it with John Gruden or whoever the hell they got. Put the games on Sunday. Care about the players for once. Take care of the players and cut all this other bullshit out that goes on.
Nope. Got more money coming in, so that's what they'll do.
Yeah, but the thing is this. As you said, at some point, because this happens almost every year, you get a high school football player die or something. What happens when you're on a Monday night football game or a Thursday night game, God forbid, and a player gets hit and he don't get up? Where's your TV money going to be then?
Yeah, I mean, they don't think about that.
Well, no, because they don't care because they're just lying in their pockets right now.
Yeah,
and the thing is when look, let's be honest, it's not if that's going to happen, it's when that's going to happen. They will not blame it on the fact that a player played on Sunday and then played on Thursday or played on Wednesday and played on Monday. They'll blame it on something completely different, not wanting to blame on the fact that, you know, this guy just put his body on the line 5 days ago and now doing it again. That has an effect on everything you do. We're seeing it.
And see, the problem you got is the NFL controls the narrative now because we've got a Dallas Cowboy beat writer that wants to go down and cover the Cowboys. We get a message from the Cowboys that the only places that they will give credentials to now are networks that have contracts with the NFL. So they control the narrative. So Colin Kaepernick is not playing quarterback now, and you ask most NFL fans why isn't he, and they'll say because he sucked last year. Well, last year he threw 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and had a quarterback rating of 90. If his name was Ryan Fitzpatrick, they'd give him $20 million for next year somewhere.
Yeah.
So they control the narrative. They say he sucks, and it brainwashes everybody that doesn't pay attention to the way they need to if they're watching the game. So the narrative is Colin Kaepernick sucks. He doesn't suck. He went to the freaking Super Bowl a few years ago, took his team there, almost led them on a great comeback to win the Super Bowl, and then had a good season last year on a team with no weapons whatsoever. And, I mean, they control the narrative because, you know, it's NFL, is on NBC, CBS, Fox, NFL Network, ESPN. And if you work for those people, you will not say anything out of the way about them or you'll get fired.
That's true. Exactly it.
So that's my little rant. But
all NFL executives that want to hire a hitman, Mike's phone number is 555-412-6733.
Hey, that's my real phone number. What are you doing? I don't know. They're probably getting mad at me writing articles supporting Colin Kaepernick. So what the hell?
Probably.
But, you know, my dad was in the military, and my dad always told me, you know, I'd never fought for somebody to have to do something. But that's a whole other story that we can get into on another show sometime, but what the hell?
You know, we can almost, I was going to say my final words would be, you know, we can almost break off the back half of this show and split it off to be a whole other show because the last 15 minutes were pretty good. So,
are you saying the first half sucked or what?
No, just two different shows. I'm telling you, we did good today. That's all I got.
All right, is that your final thought, Brian?
That's my final thought.
All right, Robert?
My final thought is really, I mean, I changed my schedule up to go and honor a man who gave me the opportunity to be able to become a superstar in the CFL, and Don Matthews. And, you know, if it wasn't for Don Matthews, you know, there would have been no me in the CFL. So I have the utmost respect for a coach that gave me the chance and the opportunity to just play the game of football that I love, you know. And it's he was a great coach. You know, he was a great mentor. You know, we miss him, and, you know, this weekend will be special for me because, you know, to me it's about Don Matthews, you know, because he's the one who put together the miraculous teams that came from Baltimore. And all those guys, I mean, I came to Toronto and played with him, and Don was just a great guy, and he's a great asset and a great mentor and, you know, a personality for the CFL. And, you know, and rest in peace, Don.
Well said. Oz?
Yeah, Vince, I didn't get in on that rant before. I just wanted to kick in my two Canadian cents here. There's an added level of perversity when you talk about this stuff in the CFL, this short scheduling kind of stuff, because check this out. That Monday night game this week that the Red Blacks shouldn't have to play is being played in Toronto. Now, one of the excuses for building this new stadium there was so that we wouldn't have this odd scheduling problem that we had the last 2, 3, 4 years with Toronto. You know, scheduling Monday night and Tuesday night games and whatnot. And what do? As soon as they have the shiny new stadium, they go and do Monday night. They go and give, you know, the defending champs a short week. You know, and that's got nothing to do with TV contracts. That's got nothing to do with anything except for maybe making a couple of extra dollars in Toronto, which can't sell a ticket for $10. Nuts.
Yeah, and really, wouldn't that game go over better on like a Friday or Saturday night with the ticket prices like that, the Doug Flutie bobblehead,
of course it would.
The great Argonaut teams in the 90s being there?
Saturday day.
Yeah.
You know, Saturday night would be great. Friday night would be great. You know, it's just why Monday? I mean, especially when you explicitly said we weren't going to do this. Now you're going to do this? I mean, what? But anyway, I suggest that fans check out the game anyway because Robert and company are going to be there.
Yeah, and Robert, we wish you safe travels there. And
absolutely.
Will you be back, or when will you be back?
I'll still be at the game Monday night.
So we do the show like Tuesday next week. Would you be all right, or should we just do it without you next week?
I might be. I mean, I could I'll probably be uninterested in the game at that point. I think because I think Toronto will be winning handily. That's me being a homer.
We're not going to do the show till after that game anyway, so it'd probably be Tuesday or Wednesday when we do the show.
Okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, guys. So remember to check us out next Tuesday night. We'll talk to Robert about his experience in Toronto. See if he got us Doug Flutie's phone number. But I'm not holding my breath after what he told me. But I want to remind everybody to check out all our sponsors, PowerPlusMouthguards.com, Replenishing Care Technologies, Gridiron Mo. Also, coming up this week on our boxing show, we will have lightweight champion Mikey Garcia, who's getting ready to fight Adrian Broner in a couple weeks. He will be on our show. And then Wednesday night, we'll have Gennady Golovkin's trainer, Abel Sanchez, on the show. Make sure you check out all the articles, all the shows on www.thegruelingtruth.net. We also, if you go to Spreaker now and iTunes, we have our own app out. So you can find the Grueling Truth app that way on iTunes. So make sure you check that out. We'll have a new logo up here in another day or two, which look pretty sharp. And I just want to remind everybody you can catch all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Google Music. Anywhere you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Oz Davis, Brian Schmidt, Robert Drummond, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends